In May 2022, the United Kingdom signed mutual security agreements with Sweden and Finland. The decision made by the latter two northern European countries could be seen as a direct result of the fear and instability created by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Couple days later, the same two northern European countries, Sweden and Finland, took a step further in their joint application to become members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, with the hope that, by joining the US-led military alliance, they create an additional barrier to deter any future military adventure made by Moscow. Although being well received by already members of NATO, such as Poland and Estonia, the joint application of Sweden and Finland has also met some resistance, especially by Turkey. However, even with this temporary opposition, the two countries are likely to become full members of the military alliance in the near future, and therefore it's necessary to analyze what are the implications of such outcome. NATO, as its name suggests, is a military alliance which comprises regions located in the North Atlantic Ocean, covering almost all of North America and the European continent. The borders of the organization have been expanding since the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the end of the Warsaw Pact in 1991, reaching the borders of Russia, another great power in Eurasia. Until the last admission to NATO, which was North Macedonia in 2020, the NATO-Russia borders were limited to the Baltic states, Norway, and Poland. With the membership of Finland and Sweden, the borders with Russia will increase to 2,550 kilometers or 1,584 miles, and as a result, some implications of such outcome can be observed. The first implication states that the further enlargement of the organization also means that major Russian cities and critical infrastructure will become more vulnerable, since members of the NATO alliance usually share and relocate military capabilities within their borders. Cities such as St. Petersburg or even Moscow are miles away from the Russian borders with the Baltic states and Finland, for example. Acknowledging that the US, the UK, France, and Russia are nuclear weapon states, any misguided decision could raise tensions and escalate the situation in the regional context. The second implication is related to expanding NATO influence on other domains, especially in the sea. With Finland and Sweden joining NATO, the expansion will not only be restricted to the land borders, but also the sea ones. The two northern European countries have coastlines in the Baltic Sea, a strategic sea lane to the Russian Federation. The Baltic Sea is where the Nord Stream 2 infrastructure is located, a major energy project that intends to deliver Russian energy exports to Germany and other European countries. Also, according to 2019 data on cargo traffic in the Baltic Sea, Russian ports represented 51% of the total distribution, a number that shows the economic importance of this region to Russia. In addition, the membership of Sweden and Finland would add another European strategic and economic choke point under NATO control. Denmark and Sweden would control the access to the Danish Straits and the Baltic Sea. Norway and the United Kingdom already control the access to the North Sea. Iceland, Norway, and Greenland control the passage to the Atlantic Ocean. The United Kingdom and Spain control the Gibraltar Strait, and finally, the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles are under Turkish control. These NATO controls could greatly hinder Russia's capabilities to access important sea routes, be them for trade, military, or other purposes. Last but not least, the third implication considers the projection of NATO interests in the Arctic region. With Sweden and Finland joining the US-led military alliance, all the 8 Arctic Council members, with the exception of Russia, would be NATO countries. And these include Canada, the US, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, and Denmark. As a consequence, decisions related to the security and economy of the Arctic region would then be resumed to a NATO-Russian dialogue, comprising the different positions and concerns of the 2 spheres of influence. Therefore, NATO's expansion to include Sweden and Finland could further harm Russian interests in the Arctic, a region that has been given a major focus by official Russian authorities due to its economic and strategic relevance. And what do you think? What are the implications of Sweden and Finland joining NATO? Let your opinion in the comments below, and I'll be glad to read your feedback. If you have enjoyed the video, please consider clicking the like and subscribe buttons. Big thanks!